All right, welcome everybody to this late morning session on evacuations. Deputy Scott Bear, we've asked him and he has graciously agreed to provide an overview on evacuations and then provide obviously opportunities to answer any questions before the end of the day. So with that, Scott, it's all you.
Hi, how's everyone going this morning? So just going to do a quick presentation of our evacuation process. It's just a little insight of a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about today. But if you're more curious in all the things that we do and provide the Sheriff's Office, we have a thing called the Citizens Academy, where we open up our doors to the community to come in and see what we do. So there's all different disciplines of the Sheriff's Office that are part of it. There's OES, there's our patrol division, our canines, our SWAT, our dispatch, our property, our records, and you get to see a little clip of the whole machine at work and how we represent you and how you know where your taxes go to. So it's a very fun event. If you're curious, just go on our website and there should be a thing on the Citizens Academy on there.
Am I supposed to go to the bathroom?
Gotta press the presentation, so go quick.
If I get.
You just gotta press the PowerPoint side. Sorry about these technical problems.
Now. He didn't see the PowerPoint's not up on his screen.
See, soon as Ken leave, everything goes to crap.
Yeah. The PowerPoint doesn't.
Oh, it's not.
But it's up on the TV.
Yeah, it's up over there.
There we go.
There. All right, we're gonna change the online view. All right. So here's a little clip of our office. So in our office of Office Emergency Services, we have a lieutenant, and then we have a sergeant that supervises us, and then we have 3 deputies. So we have myself, Deputy Bear, that's OES the West Slope, and then we have another person in our office that's OES West Slope, Deputy Whitlock. I do more of the emergency response stuff on our West Slope, and he does more of the search and rescue. And then we have Deputy Almos, who is responsible for the Tahoe side. The cool thing about our office is every OES is different for every jurisdiction. So for our county, we have law enforcement, we have fire, and we have civilian representatives. Some counties, they only have law enforcement or fire departments or civilian. So we have everybody under one house because it makes everything so much easier because we know each of our roles. And when we train and do stuff, we know each other's roles and what we're supposed to do. So it makes our coordination a lot better. So how evacuations work? So when it comes to fire evacuations, fires are always different. Every fire is different, depending on the wind that day, temperature that day, the fuel loads, the topography. So we can't really have pre-designated evacuation routes and plans specifically because they can always change. So when a fire occurs, fire and law enforcement will enter unified command. So we'll have a fire person going out there and a law enforcement person going out there to assess the fire. Once they understand what the fire is doing, we rely on the fire guys for their fire behavior because they are the specialists when it comes down to fire behavior. They'll tell us pretty much where the fire is going, the rate of spread, how long we have to evacuate community, and then we create on our side the evacuation zones and put out the warnings and orders. So when it comes to evacuation warning, sure it's not here. I think that's later in the presentation. So the ways that we do evacuations in our county, it's a layered approach. So we do door to door, and then we send out emergency alerts that also have our perimeter use that shows what zone you're in, and you can go on and see if you're going to be affected or not. And then we also have deputies go door to door to do notifications. We go door to door because our community is unique, and the fact that all of our radio towers, our communication towers are all on hills, and so sometimes fires like to burn in places where there's high hills, we can lose our communication. So we always go door to door to make sure we're reaching everybody. At the same time, currently our emergency alert systems, they're opt-in systems. So if someone's not signed up for it currently, they won't get the evacuation notice. So we have to go door to door to make sure that everyone is notified. There's some new changes that we're working on right now when it comes to notifications that we're very excited about because the aftermath of the LA fire, they realized that most of that community wasn't signed up for opt-in alerts. So a lot of people didn't get the opt-in alerts. So now they have a new law that's been passed that we're working with our partners for an opt-out. So we can work with our utilities to get a list of their customers and upload them into our system. And then we'll send out alerts saying, hey, you've been added to the system. Here's your opportunity to opt out. So we think it's really good for our community because it's giving us the ability to do a wider range of people that aren't necessarily opt into this, but if they don't want to be part of the system, they have the ability to opt out. So we're working on that right now. It probably won't be in during this fire season, but will be in my next fire season because we have to upload all the people into our system. We need to test it, make sure the program works before we go live with it. Like I said before, we did a countywide drill of the alert a few weeks ago, and it was very successful in the fact that we reached our community, and we also got positive feedback of things that were kind of changing. One thing that we noticed was some people were receiving spam calls. Did anyone receive any of the spam alerts? All right, so anytime with technology now, because there's so much spam, they've created technology to alert people that there's a mass amount of phone calls going out. It might show up as spam. So some of our alerts went out as spam, depending on what carrier you have. So we're working with Rave and the state right now to see if we can change that where there's an alert not getting a spam notification. So that's one thing we're working on, and we're just trying to make the system better. And also for evacuations, it's not just us. It's a whole village approach when it comes to fire evacuations. While we're going door to door evacuating people and sending out the alerts, we also have other members of the community that are also doing setting up shelters and also shelters for animals. Because the vast majority of people in our county have a lot of animals, not just cats and dogs, but we have large animals too that we need to evacuate. And this might surprise you that a lot of people that have large animals, they don't really have plans in case there's a fire. Every single time there's a big fire, we always get calls similar to, I have 20 horses, no trailer. Can you help me evacuate my animals? If you have animals, it should be your responsibility to have a plan for them. I would reach out beforehand because the best time to plan for a disaster is before it happens. So have plans of where your animals are going to go. If you have horses or large animals, have a friend or a family member where you can send your animals so that they have somewhere to go. The county will set up evacuation shelters for animals. It's just that me personally, if I was going to have my animals go somewhere, I'd want them to go to a loved one's house or a family member or a friend. Same for myself. If I'm going to have to evacuate, I have 5, 6, 7 plans of where I'm going to go depending on where the disaster's at. I'm going to go to a family member's or a friend's house or someone who's out of the area. So I know that I'm going to a place that is very nice. We do some shelters. Our shelters though are pretty much just the basics. They will provide stuff for you, but you're not gonna have any luxury when you go to our shelters. So if you want to have a very nice place to stay, just have those arrangements ahead of time. And also with hotels too, because some of these very big disasters, if your plan is I'm just gonna get a hotel that's in town, they may not be available because they're bringing in tons of resources and those people might be taking the hotel rooms, fire departments, Red Cross, all the other people that are coming in to assist. So if you were to have a plan, try to have it outside of the affected area. The EOC, or the Emergency Operations Center, the OES is responsible for maintaining this. And pretty much what this is if a disaster gets so big that our local resources can't handle it, we open up the EOC to increase our coordination. So we get everybody who's affected in the fire, DOT, us, fire, everyone who's going to have a footprint on what we're going to do in one room to make decisions. A good example of how EOC works, it's not a fire situation, it's a storm situation, but during the winter storms the last few years, we had a big problem because there was so much snow, it was knocking down the power lines. And then there was power lines on the roads, so DOT couldn't plow the roads, and they weren't getting done. So we had to bring them both in a room and say, hey, you guys plow the roads, you guys fix the power lines, and as a team, we're going to go through and clear these roads. So that's the level of coordination the EOC provides that brings everybody into one area, so decisions can be made appropriately. The way I think of it is when there's a big fire, fire's main responsibility is to put the fire out. So other people out the fire, we don't want them to be distracted by other stuff. So when the EOC opens, we do all the other stuff around it, so they can focus their attention on the fire, and we put all the small little fires that aren't necessarily the fire out, with getting resources, opening up shelters, and all other stuff that comes with the fire. Evacuation basics. So our primary method of evacuations is door to door. We do have all those cool tools that we use for alerting, but those are just tools. If the power is out, or if the cell phone towers get burned through and you can't communicate, we want to make sure that people are sitting alerted, so we go door to door to make sure that's the case. Another good method you could have is having a radio. In case cell phones aren't working, if you have a radio and you can communicate with the community in the radio world, that's one more form of communication that you can use. So when it comes to evacuation warnings, that's pretty much what it is, the warning, but it also gives people the ability or the time to evacuate. So if you're elderly, disabled, or have large animals, use that time to evacuate, or at least get ready to evacuate when you get the order that you can evacuate yourself, and you're not waiting to get the evacuation order and you're already behind time and behind traffic now. So I would recommend evacuating at a warning time if you have the means to, just so you're out of the way. Because if there's going to be large evacuations, the roads might be clogged. So try to get out as early as you can, because that's going to give you the best time to leave. And the evacuation order is you must leave now. You're at immediate risk to life. When it comes to evacuation orders, we won't hold people out of their house and arrest them if they're in the evacuation order area. We will strongly advise you to leave, because if we do an evacuation order, we really believe that there's a risk to your life in the community. In our office, we take evacuation orders very serious, because all of us live and work in this community. Every time there's a big fire, one of us is probably going to be evacuated during that fire time, and we want to be back in our houses as fast as you do. So if we do evacuation orders, we truly mean it. We want you to leave the area so that you are safe. Like I said before, we won't be arresting people that are refusing to leave, just because our main goal for evacuations is to help as many people as we can. So if we have resources arresting people, that's one less law enforcement officer we have to go door to door to do evacuations. There is a time and place though that people will get arrested, and that's going to be if they are affecting our evacuations. So if people are messing with the firefighters or doing shenanigans stuff that's clogging up the system and causing us more work, we will remove that person if it's necessary. This is kind of a small group. Do you guys want to have any questions as we go on the slides instead of waiting to the end? Because we'll cover different stuff. Do you have a question?
I have a question about Reed.
All right. Let me give you the mic real quick so you can hear. I'll walk around the room.
The emergency alerting systems. There are companies that manufacture use like Electron or something that's plugged into your home and sits waiting for the NOAA or National Emergency Alert codes based upon your zone, whatever your emergency designation is. I've been trying to find one of those, but I'm having trouble finding out what is my zone. First off, it's not available really. Second is with Ray, it's good, but if I put my phone on do not disturb from 9 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't get these things. So how can I either program my phone? It has to have a number or something on it, or how do I ensure that I'm going to get these alerts?
All right, when it comes to the alerts for the settings in your phone, that's gonna be just the settings of your phone. Every phone's different. Just go online, ask someone how to set your phone to do that. But the government won't come in and be like, I'm gonna override all your personal settings to get this alert. It's not gonna happen. Well, they can also change those. And also, we don't really send those alerts a lot. So there's different alert systems. So to break it down, there's our rave system, which is our opt-in system that allows people to sign up for it, and we alert them through the opt-in process, door to door. There's also another system out there called the IPOS system, which is what you're more talking about, that it goes through the federal side, through FEMA. And there is a time and place to use that system. However, that system is really outdated and has a lot of issues with it. One of the biggest issues with it is you can't geofence it. So if I send out an alert to say Elmwood Hills, evacuate your community, Elmwood Hills sits on the upper part of Sacramento, and they can't really geofence it. So I might just alert Elmwood Hills there's a disaster, but I just alert half of Sacramento. So it causes really big problems when it comes to evacuations. A lot of those problems where you're seeing in the LA fires, where a lot of the evacuation issues was based off different jurisdictions and communities using IPOS and haven't bleed over. So there is a time and place for that. It's a different system. It's the federal system. We have used it in the past where we need to hit large groups of people mainly like the top area where there's a lot of vacationers, because the vacationers are probably not signed up for our system. So we do have that access to that system. However, there's a time and place, and we'll decide which system's best for you when it comes to the alerts. Depending on where we're in our communities, a lot of our areas of our communities are very, very good at signing up for these systems, especially if they're high-risk fire areas. So we will hit the vast majority of people in those areas because they know the dangers and they're signed up. And then we also do the door-to-door to cover up the people that aren't signed up for the system. So does that answer your question? When it comes to things that we can't change the code settings.
From the standpoint of disasters or weather emergencies.
Yep, so we have a great example for that, weather emergencies. So the iPod system is really good for weather emergencies, because if there's a tornado or a hurricane, I really don't care about bleed over. It's not a specific area I want to hit. With fire evacuations, it'd be very strategic, because we don't want to clog the roads with traffic, and if we send to a large area, they can be clogged. And when it comes down to doing the alerts, we'll even work with PG&E, like the Caldor Fire, doing power outages to our alerts. So we'll do alerts to the area, we'll coordinate with PG&E, we'll have 10 minutes to have the alerts so people get it, and then they'll shut off that power, and they'll do the next area. And we'll strategically go through it so people have enough power service to get the alerts.
My phone has the option what's called VIP.
Mhm.
And that allows me to override any settings for it. I have to have a phone number.
Mhm.
Is there a phone number for grades that I can put in my phone and give it VIP status so that it will alert me?
Yeah, there is. I don't know if I have it in this presentation. My service here is terrible. But if you go on our website, ready.edso.org, it is on there where you can save that phone number. The issue with that we're running into right now is with all these spam calls that are happening, there's third-party companies and also telecommunication companies that are flagging those things as spam. So we recommend that you do put in that phone number into your phone. So when it pops up, it shows it was us. It's not showing up as a spam call. We're working to improve that system. It's not just our area that's affected by it. It's everywhere.
It's one number.
Yes.
You don't have that.
If you go to ready.eso.org, it is on there. And there's also a flyer. Let me see if I can skip ahead real quick.
I've signed up for it. Doesn't even know.
The other number's on there. Can you click this so I can click through the screen?
Oh, hang on. Oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be on the website.
Then what's
Huh?
this is beautiful.
That's getting a hold of us. There's a number on it. I'm sure it's gonna be on our flyer.
oop, did I mess,
This.
did I mess you up, Scott? Are you?
Nope, nope,
Okay.
you're good. Let's see if it's on here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so that number is not on here, but if you go to our website at ready.eso.org, that number is there. I just don't have enough service right here to tell you what that number is.
On his other
I
computer.
perfect, thank you.
He doesn't have it.
But depending on the workaround, we're trying to see our options for that. So far our option could be, on the community we've done for years to put that into their phone to show that this is us calling. The only thing is that we don't hit a big enough audience that everyone's doing that. So we're gonna try to keep the same number because we told over years to save that number in there. But depending on our options to fix that issue, we might have to get a different line through the rate program or other stuff to fix it. So like I said, it's not just us being affected, it's everyone. Same thing for emails. Email companies are doing the same thing where they're just automatically flagging stuff as spam, throwing stuff in spam folders. So we're also working on that side to see if we can improve that side of it. But there's, if
You
you're,
want to be, you really want to be their address.
I don't want to be anybody's address books. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to be my address book. Huh?
It's recognized by my phone. It's
Correct. Correct. You could save it in there. The only problem is we don't hit a wide enough audience for our whole community that everyone's doing that.
Is there more than one?
Just one. Yeah, that on there? No, that's our office number. We just updated our site. I'll get back to you on that. All right. But there is a number on there for that. So like I said, that might be changing depending on the solution we have to fix the problem. You wanna click the PowerPoint again?
Yeah, I noticed, Scott, when I go into the
Yeah.
screen mode, it shuts you down. So let me fix this for you. Okay, try it.
But regardless, if you're signed up for our program, you should get a text message, a voicemail, and an email for it. So the idea is just to have as much options available that we send out the alerts, and you're also getting that door-to-door option. Yeah, you should get all of them. So like I said, we have a layered approach so that we don't have people sneak through the cracks when it comes to that. I don't know if I'm just looking at it. I have no idea. I would have to look at what it is. But let's continue. I can look it up and see what it is after this.
Scott, what's smart?
All right, so Smart 911. So Smart 911 is a national directory, pretty much comes down to. So Rave has a third-party organization that you use to sign up their information that goes into the Rave platform and it feeds other stuff too.
So this is legit.
Yes, so Smart 911 is legit. That is the system to sign up for the Rave program. So there's also some people asking us about possible spam calls or spam emails when it comes to updating information. Because the program every 6 months will ask you to confirm your information. So that is like a real one too. It's not spam. It's just confirming that your information is correct and it's not, you can change it. One of the other reasons is because the information also goes to dispatch centers. So if you have an emergency and you have that information in there, the dispatch can open it up and see that this is where you live, this is, you know, your medications and whatever stuff is on there. Yes.
If you don't, you're still in the system or you get eliminated?
Nope, you're still in the system when it comes to getting emergency alerts. It just will affect your ability if you were to contact 911, because they will update information on that to see if they can, you know, help you when it comes to emergencies. But for the learning side, you're unaffected by that 6 month time frame. Yeah, so emergency alerts through Rave so far, but that's been a very good program. Previously we had Code Red, which was very, very difficult to work with. And this system we went to is a lot better. But there's always room for improvement, so we're constantly trying to get a better product for you. The people at Rave, their customer service is very, very good on the emergency side. So if we have an issue, we can contact them, and they're always trying to find a solution or a way to make their system better. Is anyone familiar to perimeter.com or perimeter.com? Sure.
I just wanted to add, I know that I go to a lot of your fire safe councils, I'm at the community events with you. And Chris did bring up a question that is brought up all the time. So I just want to make sure that everybody like can understood that enough to where you can tell your community that is what Smart 911 is, because the confusion is that we see all the time that I hear is when I go to sign up for Rave, it doesn't say Rave anywhere on it. And so it's very confusing for people. So we're trying to change the way we talk about the emergency alerts by not calling it Rave, but by calling it emergency alerts, Eldorado County emergency alerts. And so letting our community know that when you go to sign up for the alerts, it's going to say Smart 911 and it's not going to say Rave on it. So I just wanted to make sure to drive that home so that you can drive that home with your councils and your community members.
Thank you. All right, so Perimeter is fairly new to us. We got Perimeter right before the Crozier fire. It's a very good tool for us because prior when we do evacuation alerting, it would be just text. So it'd be east of this, west of that, north of this, south of this. And it's pretty hard to know those areas unless you're familiar with the area or have a map in front of you. So we got perimeter.com to give you a visual and also the ability to show your location on the map to the perimeter evacuation zones. It's a very good tool during the Crozier fire when it was brand new. That fire luckily didn't go into the community and burn a bunch of houses. But still, it being out in the forest area, it still had over 1.5 million views on that platform. It's not just people in our community or the people in Mosquito that were looking at to see where the fire was and the updates on that. It's people from outside of our county, people who have loved ones. They're trying to figure out what's going on with that fire and if their loved ones are evacuated or what's happening. So they had a lot of foot traffic on that website. Perimeter.com is very, very useful because it shows where you are in the county. And different areas, different jurisdictions, they do this differently. For us, we took pretty much our fire attack maps and we put it in there based on that with noticeable locations. So if you go to Stockton, they don't have it neatly labeled the community of Mosquito. Instead, they have zone 8652 and they have 1,000 different zones. So we wanted to make it very simple. So it's your community and you know what your community is. So we tried to name it with that so you have familiarity with it. So just look on the map, familiarize yourself with the area and your areas nearby, because if there is a fire, it may not be in your community, but you may know that that's the zone next to me that I should probably start getting ready to evacuate and stuff too. You have a question?
There is a perimeter act, you know, that, for like if you're an iPhone or your, however, they are proprietary, that's what,
Yes, so that's for a use space. So for me to actually sign up to it and send the alerts to you, I have to have the app for that. But correct, if you want to get the actual information, it's gonna be the website. So perimetermap.com is a website that's always there. You can go to it right now. Right now, it's gonna look very similar to this because we don't have anything crazy in the community going on. But it's always there. So during the alerts process, you'll get an alert for the rave saying, hey, go to this website, we've updated it. So during a disaster, just keep going back to it to see how the fire is progressing or updating. Is anyone here from the perimetermap.com? Anyone not? Yes.
So we got.
Is that on? Yep, it's on.
So during the Crozier fire, and I live in Mosquito,
Mhm.
but we were out of state when that happened. We got all of the alerts out of state on the phone, the text message, the phone call, everything. But when we looked at the map, it really, we were able to put our home in and it showed us exactly how far.
Yeah, it's a very good tool and it gives you a visual.
Very close. And being out of state, so it was a.
Yep. And if you have your locations turned on your phone too, it'll also show a blue dot like right here. When I screenshotted this, that's because I was in my office. So if you have your location turned on, it'll show you where you are to the zones too. So you can look at it and be like, my blue dot is inside the warning zone, or it's in the red zone, I need to evacuate right now, or I'm not even affected right now. So it's a very good tool if you have your location on, but just like prior for the phone stuff, if you have your settings to not show where you are, then it won't show where you are as a blue dot map. That's gonna be on your phone settings.
When you use watch duty,
Yep,
that map, is that the same map that comes up when you're using watch duty?
it is. So we contacted Watch Duty and kind of have a partnership with them. That when we send out rave alerts or electronic emergency alerts, it goes directly to Watch Duty PIO. So the way the system works for Watch Duty is they have artificial intelligence that pretty much picks up radio traffic and it goes to a PIO for them, and then they confirm the information is correct and they post it. So what we did is we sent it directly to them. So the speed of posting is a lot quicker because they know it's going to be vetted, it's coming from us, and they know that they post it. But still, Watch Duty is a great tool. I use it myself, especially if there's a fire in Andor County or Placer County. I get alerts on that. But for their system, though, they still have that time lapse. So it's still me send an alert to them. They have to review it and they have to approve it, put on Watch Duty. If you're signed up to the other kind of emergency alerts or the rave, you get that 10 minutes prior. And that 10 minutes will be very important during a fire evacuation. Especially when it comes down to if your roads are clogged for traffic, you want to get that alert before the people that are just relying on Watch Duty. With rave, so we just did the since I've been in the office, that was our first annual testing of it. Mostly because, unfortunately for our county, we had a lot of fires before. So we didn't do the annual test because we had a large fire somewhere in the county where we're doing the test on that. And then going forward, we're trying to do the annual test. Just to help us get feedback from the community. We might put in surveys in the future ones or something that the community can input with us how it makes it better. So we're still looking at it. Huh? We don't test it more often because there's a thing of alert fatigue where people just stop paying attention to it because you can go into the phone and change those settings, turn them off, or just call somebody like, I want to opt out and be out of the system. There are some communities that use their system for everything. They'll say like, hey, there's a parade this Tuesday. don't be on the road during these hours. And when they get an emergency alert, they don't take it serious because they get those alerts all the time. That was very big for COVID. Some communities and jurisdictions, they were sending out 1-2 alerts a day for COVID. And a lot of people got really frustrated because their phone was blowing up multiple times a day, that they would just turn their settings off. So we don't want to create that aspect. So we're going to do at least an annual training of that, just to let people know the awareness, update their information, or even be removed. When we did this last drill, we removed hundreds of people that don't live in our county. So if you're not in there, we want to kick you out of there too, because we don't wake you up, 1 a.m. to a night hell. So we'll remove you. Yes.
The Bonanza evacuation, after action review, lesson quarter.
Mm-hmm.
The Bonanza evacuation.
Yeah.
After action review, lessons learned.
Yep.
Anything to share with us?
For the standpoint of this, not really when it comes to the fires. That fire will likely stop before it got too crazy. I don't think we lost some structures in there, but it was one of those things where, due to the fire behavior, it was very surprising at the time. And so when we were tied in unified command, fire department was like, this has the possibility to grow even bigger where it's happening now. So we went out to the area where we thought could be affected by this, but luckily weather changed, things changed, and they were able to hold that fire and get a hold of it. But for fire wise, it was still a pretty small scale fire when it comes down to it, with the possibility of going a lot bigger. Do you have anything that for the AR that I should add?
I thought the communications were real good. All of this is really good until you lose power.
Yep.
Because you need loss.
Yep.
So then I'm part of the neighborhood radio watch. The radio, which I was using both, really was the source of information as we evacuated and returned home. So, this is all great, but you're going to lose it.
Yep, and we know that. That's why we have layer approach and we go door to door and have those other fail safes, because when you do lose power, that is an issue. Another issue of that could be landlines. The phone companies have decided that they're going to go away from landlines because that technology in their eyes is dying. So they're not investing in infrastructure anymore. So when it comes to those people that they get a landline that they relied on, if the power is out, that's no longer the case because they have a web-based one. So they have to rely on having Wi-Fi or internet at their house to have the landline work. So as technology evolves and as things change, we'll try to improve our system and make sure that we hit everybody. Because that is our number one goal, is to make sure that everyone is notified and everyone is moved out of the dangerous area. But the radio community is a very good community. If you're not part of it, I recommend it. It's expanding. We have people from our office, our volunteers do it, our civil rescue volunteers do it, previous deputies. My previous position, Todd Crawford, he's part of that community, and he keeps everyone updated all the time. He's still very close and works with us all the time. So that's it. Yes. Go for it. You want the mic?
Yeah, I really hesitated bringing this up. The radio thing we started 6 years ago. We currently have 11 communication sites in the county, thanks to the Sheriff's Office, EID, CAL FIRE, U.S. Forest Service. PG&E has donated a ton of state-of-the-art equipment to us, EDSO also. We're very much like Watch Duty. We started 2 years ahead of Watch Duty, but it's taken us time to get the money and grow the organization. We don't currently cover El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park. EID is just opening up 2 communication sites for us, and El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park will be fired up over the winter. And then the last one, we're not really aiming to do the eastern slope, but the last spot on the western slope, I actually have a meeting with the Forest Service tomorrow, is going to be to cover everywhere from Strawberry, Wrights Lake, and some of the tourist areas out there that have just no way of getting information. The comment was brought up about, leaving your phone on mute overnight. Our system works totally independent of internet, phone lines. It doesn't need PG&E power. It is independent of all of that. And unless a fire actually burns down a communication site, it never goes away. The radios, which we make available, they're donated to us from all kinds of organizations. Even ESPN gave us a ton. We sell the radios for $100 or less. They help build in pagers. So you can put the radio on a silent position and the pager will go off overnight. We have volunteers who monitor overnight. And the last thing I wanted to say is Todd Crawford, who was with OES, now he's with PG&E, along with some firefighters, are on our advisory board. They train us. We know we have beaten into us that the only credible information regarding evacuations comes from OES. So it's a great program. I really don't want to do a big push on this until we're totally built out on the western slope. But since you brought it up, that's it.
All right, thank you. And that gets brought up to pretty much every fire safety council presentation I give, that there's community, people in that community that want to have that awareness. So that's why I addressed it. And for your previous question about the phone number that will send the alert is 530-621-7595. So currently you say that that would be a way to get around the spam stuff. I just don't know what the final solution is going to be to get around that spam stuff. It's either we have to get a new phone line, or if we can fix it with the telecommunication companies.
That number won't recognize, as a valid number. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yep. So that's something we've been pushing people, because we still had the same issues back when we had code red, but it wasn't as big or as flagged. And when we did the countywide one, we sent it out to over 100,000 homes. So their systems flagged it for a lot of phone companies of this is some kind of fraud that's coming out, that it's a mass notification of some fraud.
I got that in my phone. Just noticed that I did not have to set flag lengths of knowledge.
Right. Perfect.
But
Well, hopefully you never have to use it, but just in case, you're good. So for perimeter map, here's an example of it. This is what it would look like during an evacuation. Obviously, the red area is danger. That's bad. That's gonna be the evacuation order. The yellow area is gonna be the warning section. We also will put the recommended evacuation route on there, because of fires, you can have a situation where you have 3 ways in of your community, but 2 of them are compromised, and we're giving you the route that we feel is best for you to travel. This kind of information that's here is all done at scene in unified command with the fire department. We're not going to tell you any road to go on unless it's a vetted road that we know is good. Example of that would be some fire evacuation roads out there. Back in the day, they made a lot of fire evacuation roads, and some people still rely on those evacuation roads, but there's been no upkeep on them. So a lot of them have locked gates. Some of them, the water has wiped away a lot of the roadway. So we won't post those roads unless we actually have someone unlock the gate, drive it, make sure that that is a useful exit. But we will post the main ones that's here. And if there's no evacuation routes, we can always work with fire to find evacuation route, either from using a bulldozer or for us setting a temporary evacuation zone up. There's different options that we have. And then we will send you somewhere to go. So usually we'll have a temporary evacuation point. Is usually when a fire first starts. We don't really have a shelter set up because it takes time to get resources to our shelter locations, have Red Cross come in and set up a shelter. But we'll send you somewhere to go that's out of danger. So if you have a fire that's up in Georgetown, we might send you to an area that we have pre-designated and cool that you can go to and get out of disaster's way, and then we can let you know from there, hey, there's a shelter up at this location. So we just want to move you from the bad area to the good area, and then we'll provide you more information once you're safe. Let's see here. We'll also put roadblocks on here, because if there is a fire, we will lock down the roads with roadblocks to limit the amount of people that are going in there, and also by controlling fire resources going in and people going out. So that will also be on the perimeter map. Here's an example of an evacuated area where it's not necessarily the evacuation has happened, but it's a closed down area where we don't want people to go in, and we are setting up a perimeter for that. You can see that area right there. There's a bunch of roadblocks that are limiting people's ability to access that area. And you have the mandatory evacuated area and the warning area. You want to have any questions on perimeter? It's a very simple program and it's intended to be simple because we don't want to make it complicated. We want to make it very, very simple. So when you look at it, you know, that's bad, that's good, that's a way out. Some of these programs, they get too complicated. GIS is a great example of this. GIS, if you're not familiar with the mapping software, it used to be very simple to use, but now you have to have a doctorate degree to use it because it's so complicated. There's so many layers. And because it has so many layers, if you're in an area that's poor reception, it'll never load because it's loading a million layers of information. This is very simple. It works in very low service areas because it is so simple. So we want to keep it that way. The way we got Perimeter is the person who invented it comes from a firefighter family, and she reached out to multiple agencies and asked them, if I were to create a software for evacuations, what would you recommend? So before she made it, she got input of all these different jurisdictions of what we thought a software like this should be. That's how she created it. We still are very close with her. Every time there's an issue with this, or if someone has an idea to change something, they are very, very open for us, improving stuff, changing stuff. But at the same time, we still want to keep it basic. I mean, we can always add on a million things to make it even more better, but if we do that, it'll make it worse. So, so far the system has been really, really good, and we're really proud of Perimeter Map. Here's a little flyer that we pass out to all the different jurisdictions, especially OWOPR. They printed out 1 million of these copies for us, so they always have some on hand. If you need any, please go to her. She should have plenty of them. But pretty much it's just information for the public of how to sign up through Rave and going to perimetermap.com. All right, so key points in this is enroll into the evacuation Elordo County Emergency Alerts so that you're getting those notifications on time and manner. Also, you can save the Perimeter Map website onto your phone app. So you don't have to click it in. You can just save it as an app, and so you just click it and bring it up. Familiarize yourself with your exit routes from your neighborhood. Drive these routes at least once to ensure readiness in case of evacuation. So, human behavior, sometimes people will move into an area but they won't familiarize themselves with the neighborhood. We did a town hall meeting about a year ago into a community, and someone was really mad that they lived in a one-way and one-way community, and they were really shocked to find out that they had 3 ways into their residence, to their property, and they were going a long way to work for 3 years. That's because when they bought the house,
That's probably something.
That was you.
they always went that same way the realtor bought them. They didn't expand, they didn't run their community, they didn't drive the roads to know which road they could go. So don't be that person. It's a disaster. Those can save your life. Also drive at night, because during fires, there's a really big fire, there's a lot of smoke. It may be noon, but if there's a bad fire, it's gonna look like it's midnight. It's in a very, very low visibility. So drive during the day and drive during night. And also don't always trust your GPS, because sometimes GPS lies.
Yes, it
As
does.
you've seen in the news, there's been people that have driven off cliffs because they were 100 years ago. That road no longer exists.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
For my job, I get a lot of people who are search and rescue that are stranded on roads because their map software diverts them from Highway 80 or Highway 50 into the Rubicon, or some road that is impassable with a regular car and they get stuck. Or if there's snow, they might send them to a plowed snow or a plowed road to a road that's never plowed, and then we have to go rescue them because there's snow. So don't always trust those softwares. Know your community. Just like the alert, it's a good tool. It's a good tool to use to know your community, know your roads. Yes.
I just had this incident with mapping companies.
Yep.
You know, that I got a cabin up by Echo, and there's yes, there is the way in, but there's also a one-lane third fire trail that goes to our cabin out the lake. And because that is the shortest distance technically on a map, it's bringing beer delivery trucks, and garbage trucks, and all kinds of 35 campers up this one-lane dirt road.
Yep.
I finally had to go and say, redirect away from this, but yeah, that's the kind of error that will send somebody up.
And we try to do disasters. We contact Google and Apple about the issues with redirecting people, and they say we don't care. So I mean, it's a very, very large worldwide thing that sometimes our local issues are big issues for them.
True.
So it's very tough for them to change some of that stuff, especially as relying on analytics of hundreds, thousands of phones. So it's a big process.
We're having 300 cars a week.
Yep.
Drive up and doing this.
Yep.
We've had the same issue with, Google Maps. We're in the heart of Grizzly Flats in the subdivision. And everything shows up our address in Somerset. And it's a huge confusion for not only people that come over, but any delivery companies, et cetera. So, if we schedule Gilmore Heating, they say, oh, you're in Somerset. No. And Google will not change it. We've asked them multiple times.
No, they're worldwide, and our small local issues don't really rise to their issues sometimes. Also for that too, we live in Oldham County, and that happens everywhere. You could live in Grizzly Flats, Somerset, Fairfield, or Placerville. That's one of the things we had during the Caldor fire to identify addresses with the recovery was, where do these people live? There's like 3 or 4 different locations that are good. So same thing where I live in Shield Springs, or I live in Latrobe. And depending on what software I'm using, it's one of those. But you've had a question for a while, yes.
Hi, Scott. My name is Bruce Dixon. I'm from Rancho del Sol, one of those little one way in, one way out type communities.
I think we just talked to you too.
Yes, you did. Actually, it wasn't yourself. It was one of your cohorts that came up to our quarterly meeting in July. I wished we had the slide presentation with it. So note to self is, if you guys can show it to people while you're telling them that's huge. We have, and I've been listening to your presentation, which by the way is excellent.
Thank you.
And thinking about my neighbors, they asked similar questions. That what Tanya pointed out is that they think that Rave is an app, and they can't find it, that kind of stuff. But one of the things that we talked to the guy who made our presentation, and I wanted to communicate this with you because the job that we all have here is to work with you to message into the community about what's important here. And one of the things that we have had for years as a real challenge is our neighbors think that they're going to have some preset plan to leave. And the couple of things that are missing from that plan is how early to leave. And so what we've tried to message to them, and we would encourage any support you could give us, is you started out your presentation with every fire is different. We don't know which way we're going to go. And so we tell people, leave as early as you can. Don't wait for someone to come knock on your door and expect that you're going to have an easy time getting out. So give yourself as much time as you possibly can. And the other is, if you leave early, you have choices about how and where to leave. But when incident command shows up, you've lost that. That's true. You're now in the hands of IC, and they're going to tell you how you're going to escape.
Yeah, that's true. My advice for your community is to do what you do, have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. And depending on where that fire is, if it's over here, go that way. And if it's over there, go this way. So have multiple plans in your community. I would say that your community has done a very good job of doing that, of getting other ways in the community and, cleaning around the houses and stuff and your roadways. But have multiple plans. That's the best thing. And then also, don't rely on government. I know I'm from government. A lot of people don't say that, but don't rely on me. Use your own judgment. If you look outside your house and there's a big fire and you're scared,
Scott has bad judgment.
please evacuate. But please leave during that time, because if you wait for us, it may not come. Because we still have to send out the alerts. If there's power issues, that's going to affect it. If there's cell phone towers, that's going to affect it. And also to do door to door, it does take time for us to get resources in there to do that. So I would say use your own best judgment, that if you feel that you are in danger, leave. A lot of these really bad fires, that's what happened. It may not be areas where they go necessarily door to door to tell people, but people rely on the government to tell them to leave. There's a lot of videos of the LA fire where people are in their house filming the fire in their backyard, saying, "Hey, government, can I leave?" So don't be that person. You use your own judgment and leave as early as you can, because that's going to be the best option. Because it's a lot easier to evacuate from a fire near your house that's 10 acres than a fire that's 1,000 acres. So use your best judgment. And it may not be that you have to evacuate very far, It might be that, hey, we just load some of our stuff, we just go to Placerville for the day and see how this fire develops. It's kind of like a soft evacuation, just, you know. Also, on that is, do a practice evacuation for your house. Because if you haven't, you don't know what's important or not. If you have it down to a science, if I'm grabbing this stuff and I'm going, I have my grab bag, my important documents, I have my, you know, pictures and all this stuff that I want, it's a lot quicker to evacuate. With people who don't do that, they find out they thought it would take them 10 minutes to evacuate, it takes them 2 hours. If you have large animals, it takes even longer because you have to load up the horses, they're gonna be scared because all the smoke, they instinctively they know, I need to get out of here. So if you're in your animals are freaking out, you should probably be moving. Even if you have a house cat, because your house cat might be amazing, but that day during a fire, it's under the bed and it's giving you a big fight. So just know how long it takes for you to evacuate.
We are absolutely on the same wavelength. Thank you very much.
Sure, no problem. I email or
So it's, I have the PowerPoint, so if Scott's cool, we can post it on the website. And then also this whole presentation is videotaped or it's videoed, so it'll be posted under today's meeting as one of the links as well here in a few days.
but you can share this one.
If you give that presentation at our September 11th meeting, we stream it.
Perfect. Our presentation we give should be the same every time. So all of us in our office have access to PowerPoint, and it should be every single time should be the same. I'll tell Whitlock to bring the PowerPoint next time. But it should be the same message to everybody because we want you guys to do the same thing, and we want to know what you're doing because it helps us with what we're doing. And if you're doing what we want you to do, you'll be out of the way of the fire.
In his defense, he was just coming off vacation.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're very busy with our office because during fire season, there's 3 of us. You're welcome. There's 3 of us in our office, and there's a lot of fire safety councils. So we do our best to make every single one of them. If you request one, we will do our best to go out there and give you a presentation. But during fire season, it gets compounded because we have that and fire stuff. So the best time to make those requests would be before fire season or after fire season, because then we're more available. Because there could be a fire going on where we might just have to cancel. And we've canceled on a few times over the past few years.
Do you ever address, I don't know quite how to say this, during our evacuations, we always have that group of people that are like, well, the fire is out, why can't we get back on the hill? And then they just go into a tizzy over it. And some of us understand why, and some of us understand why you can't. They don't understand why, oh, but I told Joey down the street to go check on my chickens or my this or my that, and then they get approached by law enforcement saying, you can't. Well, I don't want a stranger hanging around my house pretending to be someone that's feeding my chickens. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But do you ever do that in your presentation? Talk about.
Usually people ask. Repopulation is not a fun time because there's a lot of people that have to come into a conclusion of is it safe to return. So it might be the fire side. They'd be like, hey, this fire is not exactly out yet, so hold off on that. Or hey, this is released, but it's not a fire side now. Now it's the water company saying to return their house, the water supply is protected, they got poison stuff in it. PG, like we don't want to sign off on it yet because there's still power lines down everywhere. So there's a whole village that comes together to make sure that it is safe. From our standpoint, we want to get you back in your houses as quick as we can. We just want to make sure that it's going to be safe for you to do so. So everyone signs off on that. And then the timeline to get it that's there, we'll lock it down because we'll flood the area with security. Because if I'm asking you to leave your house, I'm telling you that I'm going to watch your house and make sure it's protected. So during fires, we flood the entire area with law enforcement to patrol the streets to make sure that people are out there looting and doing bad stuff. There are some programs out there like the Ag Pass. If you have large animals, if you're at agriculture, you can get in. If you're not, if you have animals out there, you can always contact animal services. And animal services can go out there and take care of your animals and feed them and stuff. So we don't have strangers going out there and going to your house. It's someone who's vetted who's okay.
That's the kind of stuff that I would also like to see added to the presentation because like I said, some people just go into a tizzy about it, and if they understood some of those, so.
Yeah, and another reason too, we always get the question of, why don't you just release it if you don't think the evacuation order is gonna be that far? And then release another one if it comes back again. And my answer to that is, if I told you to leave your house and you left and you came back, would you leave again if I told you to leave again? Probably not. So we want to make sure that we sign off with everybody first before we let you back in. On the fire side is getting very, very advanced when it comes down to their fire behavior stuff. They have AI technology and stuff that they'll do fire simulations, especially for the big ones, to see if your area is still in danger. And so they're not going to release until they know for sure this community is going to be safe. We stop the fire here until they can sign off on it, and we'll let people back in.
Thank you. We're just looking at better ways to try and explain that.
Yeah, and it's always a lot of frustration. Like I said before, we all live in the community.
Right.
We've all been evacuated and we want to get back in our houses. It's what you do. Elorda County is a really weird county in the sense that if you're a first responder in most areas, you live somewhere, you commute to work. We're the exact opposite. We all live the community that we work in. And then same thing too, where do the cops and firefighters in Sacramento live? They live in our county too. This is a very, very strong first responder county that we all live here. We all want to make sure people get their houses as quick as they can. No problem. This last right here too is trusted sources. So during fires, there's a lot of misinformation that goes out there, especially for some of the neighborhood watch groups. So if you're getting information from a fire, use trusted sources. The sheriff's website, the county Facebook, sheriff's Facebook, DHP's Facebook. Cal Fire has an amazing Facebook during disaster you go to keep up with information. Watch Duty is also a really good one to keep you updated. Just know it's coming from a trusted source, and don't trust those neighborhood watch groups because they might be telling you something completely false, but they assume it's true. So just use that information.
Now, when you say neighborhood watch groups, talking about next door.
Yes, those apps, yeah. Trust your neighbor. When it comes down to this, your neighbor is gonna be your closest help. Law enforcement, all that stuff, we're coming in to help evacuate you. But if you need help, work together with your neighbors. If you have a person in your neighborhood that might need some help, just go knock on the door and see if they need to be evacuated too, if they have a ride. But neighbor helping neighbor is something that we really push in this community, and I feel like our county still has a really strong sense of community. And we will help each other. Unfortunately, some of these other places, they don't have close community and they don't help neighbors. But this county still will.
I have roughly 16% of my community of 51 homes that do not have internet and do not have other than a landline for information. And I found out we had a fire, it was like a quarter mile from the community, and 3 of the folk were fairly close to it, didn't even know there was a fire until months later. Reaching people is quite a challenge, and making sure you know how to reach them. Some of them have 6-foot fences and barbed wire, and so unless you're willing to go through barbed wire in the field, you're not going to get to them. It's really quite a challenge to reach people. Just a thought. 16%.
Yeah, no, I agree. When we do door to door too, if you have a 16-foot fence that's blocking your driveway, it's going to limit our ability to alert you too. So if you do have a big gate or a big fence, have some contingency plan to open that, especially if there's no power. There's tons of options out there. Just figure out what works best for you and your gate. But sometimes when it comes to fires too, you may not be alerted because our fire departments and Cal Fire chiefs are very good at fire behavior. So sometimes there's a fire, we pull up and they're like, hey, we got this, it's fine. You don't need to do notifications because they're very confident they're going to put the fire out. So you may not get notifications from us. You might get a watch duty just saying that, hey, there's a fire in your area, but we may not do notifications if they are very confident that they can stop and keep the fire small. They do a very good job. I mean, it's 90-some% of fires they keep under 10 acres. So they do a very, very good job of putting fires out, especially in this community. This community, it goes back to our work structure for OES, how we have fire, law, and civilians in our office. We all work good together. We work better now together than we ever have before. A lot of it has to do with the Caldor fire. We formed a lot of relationships during that time, and those relationships over the years have just gotten stronger. And they developed other organizations too, like OWAPR, because of that. And I think our county is very far in front of other counties when it comes to fire response and what we do for the community. Any other questions?
Hi, Ernie Laurie from Grizzly Flat. Just a quick thing that over the years at the elementary school, I used to give the Ready Set Go presentation to kindergartners, first and second graders. And just a quick comment that came through when trying to give these presentations to these young students. One of them, this little girl, probably a kindergartner or first grader, raised her hand and, you know, small voice and everything else. And she says, how do I evacuate my goldfish? What she was thinking about something that was very critical in her life. How was she going to keep her goldfish alive during the evacuation? Just food for thought. And another one, this boy, probably second grade. Well, we have horses, but the horse trailer has 2 flat tires. Just 2 comments of how young kids can think a little bit about evacuations as well, not just the adults and getting their heart medicine and everything else going. Some of the young kids have concerns too. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, another thing to consider too is you do have animals, make sure they have identification. Cats, dogs, horses, cows, whatever animal you're gonna be dropping off, make sure they have some kind of identification on them. Well, that spray paint goes off eventually. So just have some form of identification, either it's a holster or something that has like your contact information on it. Our county is very, very good. I've been to other jurisdictions though, where they really don't do a good job on that. And some people, they just misplace the horses, or there's someone who's trying to be good Samaritan, sees your horse that may be in an evacuation warning area, never an evacuation order area, and they take on themselves to, I'm gonna really get that horse and rescue it. So it's good to have the identification on it so we can find out where those animals are afterwards. Yes.
Speak from experience. So speaking from experience with that, collars get taken off, they get messed up. Microchip is really, and everything can be microchipped. I don't know about a goldfish, but pretty much everything can be microchipped. Birds, horses, cats, everything. And the ones that we saw that were still needing care after the Caldor fire were those, you know, barn cats that had no identification. So microchip.
Yep, I agree. If you have the ability to microchip them, do it. Another thing you do too is air tags. Air tags are everywhere now. I mean, I use it for my luggage when I fly. They say charge for 6 months. They you have an air tag on a collar or something like that. You can find GPS coordinates where they're at. There's a lot of options that you can do. So technology is only getting better when it comes to the tracking side of it.
Any other last questions for Scott? All right, I just want to thank Scott for taking the time today. This is, I know that we get questions a lot about evacuations, and for you to take the time out of your day to do this, we very much appreciate your time. And for, as we've talked about, we will be posting this video on the website. We'll also post Scott's PowerPoint on the website, so folks can use all of that freely in your own fire safe councils and other meetings. So any last words, Scott, before we go?
Yeah, no, thank you. This group makes my job a lot easier when it comes to especially outreach and getting people this information in your communities. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for all the hard work you guys put in for us getting our message out there. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.